time now for perspective, and we're talking about artificial intelligence, or AI, more specifically, about how we can build AIs that manage not to seize on the darker elements of the vast quantities of data available to them as they learn and grow, a task that's much more complicated than you might think. My guest today is cognitive scientist Abeba Birhane. She's also Senior Fellow in Trustworthy AI at Mozilla Foundation. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on France 24 today. Now, for our viewers who aren't completely clear on how AIs function, how they're made, and how they come into being, how do they learn? Can you take us through the basics?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. Yeah, exactly. So the way AI learns is by having so many samples, thousands, sometimes billions of samples as data. So for theories and concepts and really fundamental ideas of for AI formulas have been around since the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and so on. What we now have, what has really helped the AI breakthrough over the last 15, 20 years is the availability of large-scale data sets thanks to the internet, because we upload our images on the internet and we exchange texts and videos and so on. That is then sourced and that is used as training material for AI. So to bring it down to the very basics, for example, if you want to train an AI for recognition, you will have a kind of formula, a kind of a learning principle, and then you will have thousands and millions, even billions of samples of faces, showing your model, this is a face, this is not a face. And after so many tokens, after so many trials, then your AI learns to distinguish an image of a face from something that's not a face. So this is the basics of how AI is trained. So at the core of it, what's really fundamental to AI is large, huge data sets, and that's what I work on.
And yet you recently submitted, I read a paper about, in which you come to some surprising conclusions about the impact of extremely large data sets on AI models. Could you tell us about your findings?
Yeah, exactly. So within the AI machine learning field, we have this common wisdom or common understanding that the larger your data set or the larger the parameters of your model, the larger your compute, the better it is. And that has been unquestioned wisdom for as long as machine learning has existed. If you look at large corporations, so say for example between Meta and Google and Amazon, there is always neck and neck competition. OpenAI, they are trying to produce the largest AI, the largest data sets, and so on. So what myself and my colleagues did was we compared two data sets, one containing 400 billion image and text tokens, and the other one containing 2 billion image and text pairs of these two large-scale data sets. And we examined hate speech, hateful content, and we wanted to see if hateful content actually reduces or if it balances out, because that has been the common wisdom. The idea is that if your data is large enough, all the good and the bad and the nasty and the good will just balance out, and you will have a somewhat neutral data set. So that's exactly what we tested by using hateful content as a testing probe. And what we found was that as data sets increases, the amount of hateful content actually increases. And we also tested models, generative models that were trained using these two data sets. And what we found out was, as again, the models trained with large-scale data sets produced a lot of problematic content. They were much highly likely to label images of Black people in general, and more specifically images of Black men as suspicious person and gorilla and so on, and other problematic labels. So yeah, that was the finding. So we now know that the larger isn't necessarily always the better, and as data sets and models get larger and larger, so does the problems within these data sets and AI systems.
And how open are AI companies about where they source their data from?
This is a great question. Actually, there isn't very much openness at the moment. There is so the data set myself and my colleagues audited. That's actually one of the only large scale data sets that is available open source. But we don't even OpenAI, despite its name, the irony, they don't open anything. Their data sets, their models, their code, nothing is open. In fact, actually, all they are even making less and less of their resources open and accessible. So there is absolutely no openness across these large corporations that are at the top of producing AI, from as I said, from OpenAI to Meta, formerly known as Facebook, to Google, to Amazon. You look at almost all AI corporations, there is no openness. That's one of the biggest problems, and that's a culture that we have to push for change.
So you say it's one of the biggest problems in the AI space. Do you think as long as they're not open about where they're sourcing their data, AIs are doomed to be racist, misogynistic? Is that the only way to mitigate that inherent bias that you see in AIs?
So we have to know that, because the only place we can source huge data sets is the internet, and the internet the internet is basically a toxic place. You find all kinds of problematic content, and you look at any data set that's sourced from the internet, you are guaranteed to find, racist labels and misogynist associations of women, over sexualization of women. You will find a lot of illegal content that shouldn't be there, copyrighted content, illegal content, or really horrific content, such as child porn, images of genocide, and so on. So one thing that's guaranteed is that all data that's sourced from the internet will always have problems, and all AI that because AI learns from data sets, the data is the sample that AI learns from. So these problems from data will always translate to our AI. It will have a downstream impact. It will have a downstream effect in how AI generates content, in how AI makes decisions, and in how AI impacts other people.
A
So
compelling argument there for better policing of the data sets that our AIs are built on. I'm so sorry we have to leave it there. I wish we could discuss this fascinating topic at length, but that is all the time we have right now. Abeba Birhane, Ethiopian-born cognitive scientist and senior fellow in Trustworthy AI at Mozilla Foundation. Thank you so much for speaking us on France 24 today.
thank you.